Oh, man.
Terrifying. Terrifying, terrifying.
I am shaking in my wee little booties.
A modern podcast where Chris and Mike talk about TV, movies, superheroes, and everything in between. It's time for Superhero Slate.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name's Mike Royer.
And this week, Doctor Strange breaks into our dimension.
Clever.
Yes, the Beast finds his beauty.
So sweet.
Oh, I know. A second superhero fight club breaks out.
Uh-huh.
And more.
And more. And to top it all off, we had a release of an awesome Netflix show. And usually, we're like we're chomping at the bit to watch it as much as we can. But like... our weekends were complicated this weekend.
If you came here for a Luke Cage review, you came to the wrong episode.
Well, it doesn't even necessarily matter, because usually on the first weekend of a Netflix show, we're just giving initial impressions, which I brought something to the table this week, so don't worry, I got your back, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
But the next week, per usual, is when you'll get our full rundown. You know, it takes time to digest. This is like 13 hours of content. It's a lot of work.
It really is. It's 13 hours of good content as well. It's not just like something you put on noise in the background. You got to watch it and you got to pay attention.
Noise in the background, like that train going hard back there.
Apparently, like there's this weekend, this trains have been like going through, just blaring their horns, like, "Hey guys, I'm still here. Don't forget about me. Choo choo." So it might go on for a little bit more. But I have to be honest. I didn't get to watch any Luke Cage because I've been pretty busy this weekend too, and I feel like I let everyone down by not watching even the first episode.
When life gets in the way of being a nerd, it's rough. It's really rough. But it sounds like you made up for the fact of not getting any Luke Cage nerdiness, and you got some video game nerdiness.
I did. I was able to upgrade to an Xbox One S this weekend,
and I have to thank you, even though your attempts have been futile. I can still thank you. You still badger me constantly about getting an Xbox, and you even said it sounded like you were going to sell me your older Xbox.
Yeah.
And I would assume I would have gotten a pretty nice friend/co-host deal. But like when you sent me that message, I just like looked over at my TV and I was just like, I was just trying to imagine a next-gen console being underneath that television. I'm just like, it would be nice to have, but I just don't think I'm ever going to have time to play it, which is really unfortunate. So I think I'm going to have to diversify my entertainment into some sort of PC tower that can do multiple tasks. I think that's going to happen, hopefully, in 2017.
I mean, I don't know if you think an Xbox only plays games anymore. They do handle multiple tasks very well.
You can't do anything else on them video game consoles, man.
Well, the reason I'm really stoked for this One S is that it has a 4K Blu-ray player built into it.
Oh, and you have a 4K TV, right?
I have a 4K TV. So this is the first time I've ever seen all 4Ks at once. And
so when you get around to watching Luke Cage, I think you can watch it in 4K. I think they're filming all Netflix stuff in 4K.
I think so, if you have the right plan. Like, it costs more to get the 4K plan. Like, I only have the basic streaming package. Yes,
I think
there are multiple Netflix packages. I looked into this.
Man, I'm so out of the loop here. And also, I think Google is doing a big hardware announcement coming up on Tuesday, and I think they're announcing like a 4K Chromecast, so you can just 4K out your whole place, so when it gets robbed, people can just get all the latest gadgets and all your doodads and all your collectibles, Basically what I'm trying to tell you is invest in some locks.
Some locks?
Yeah, some locks. Just lock that place up. You got all the goods up in there.
I do.
What were you thinking? I was saying like locks and bagels or something.
I was like, I have no idea. Like, what lock? What? Like, no. I want people to come over and hang out with me. And play my stuff with me. Because I don't know. I'm just excited. I mean, I like it. I mean, we normally use our Apple TV for all our consuming of stuff, but I want to get some 4K Blu-rays and pop them in there and try it, because this is the cheapest 4K Blu-ray player, like $100. like
Yeah.
under. So I'm really excited to check that out and see what that's like. I'll let you guys know, and see kind of maybe I'll look into the Netflix 4K plan, try it out for a month, and see what it looks like, because that's going to be some bandwidth. I tell you what, you got to need some bandwidth.
I hope. Are you capped over there?
I am like in terms of speed limits.
No, in bandwidth. I know some regions in the U.S. their bandwidth is
they're restricted by how much they can use a month. Not that I know of. I've never been put on trial.
That's good. I feel bad for anybody that's subjected to that. But yeah, they're gonna have to do something, because 4K eventually will be the standard. It's gonna be
It's going to be here. I might as well embrace it.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, just to confirm while we're talking about this, all of the Marvel Netflix shows are, in fact, in 4K.
There you go.
So even Daredevil. Definitely going to see that out. What was the thing? Was it Stranger Things you watched? I don't see that on the list here.
But either way, Stranger Things is. You need to get around to watching that. I know you need to get to Luke Cage first, but I'm just gonna have to break your legs so you're just stuck at home in front of the TV. Watch Stranger Things.
I guess so, but I mean, unless you got something to talk about. I know you mentioned the pie contest today.
Oh yeah, my wife worked very, very diligently hard on multiple versions of a pie recipe, and she entered in the KCRW pie contest out here in Los Angeles. Put a very valiant effort up. Came home ribbonless, unfortunately, but she's first place in my heart, and I loved her pie. So the real winner is me, because I got to eat pie for like the last month, like pretty much like every other day. It was really fantastic. So I hope she enters next year so I can eat more pie.
Yeah, I mean, we all hope for you, man, because that sounds awesome. that is not a bad way to spend your Sunday, to say the least. Well, I guess we just jump into the news here. We've been talking about it. We've been kind of, I guess, as Mike would say, burying the lead here. Luke Cage is out. You can watch it on Netflix, all 13 episodes. A couple of people asked me how far I've gotten into. I still have to say 0. I'm looking forward to watching my first episode as soon as this podcast is over and edited tonight.
Oh, awesome.
But Mike, you saw a couple episodes. How far did you get?
I got 3 episodes in, which I think is definitely enough to know kind of what you're getting into, for sure. They kind of have a pattern with a lot of these Netflix shows where you're kind of gonna, within your first 3 episodes, you're gonna get a very big action set piece, which carries through with this trend very well. I'm looking forward to more, because I love nothing more than watching Luke Cage beat the crap out of people. It is so satisfying. We got to see it in Jessica Jones, and we get to see it obviously again in his own show, and it's so awesome. Mike Coulter is my new man crush. I made sure to let my wife know while we were watching it on Friday night. I was just like, oh, Mike Coulter, he is the man. He's so handsome, he's so dashing, and he puts the moves on pretty early in episode 1, and it's just like, I was like, oh man, Mike Coulter, you're the man. I hope I can meet you someday. Give you a hug, give you a kiss on the cheek, because you're super fly. Oh, anyway, I'm gonna stop incriminating myself here.
Yeah, we now have that on recording. So we know anyway, Mike's man crush of the day.
He's a very infectious, handsome man. But we all knew that he was in Jessica Jones. So this series is really interesting. It's a unique twist, because so far we've had Daredevil and we've had Jessica Jones, and in their first seasons we kind of jumped into a new world with new characters. This is the first time we get to see a character with his own show where he's really already been introduced. We already know kind of the ins and outs of Luke Cage. We kind of already know his big peril in his life, because we knew about his wife from the Jessica Jones show. So we know a lot about this character already. So you kind of have this interesting mixture in his show where you can kind of hit the ground running, but at the same time the drama kind of comes from other parts in his life. He kind of wrapped up the storyline a little bit with his wife in a totally different show. So we kind of get to explore other avenues of Luke Cage, and I'm excited to see where else it's going to go in the other 10 episodes I haven't seen yet. But I'm really enjoying the location of Harlem. It's really cool kind of getting outside of Hell's Kitchen and seeing another part of New York. And it's interesting to see the way they play with the community there. So I'm really enjoying that. The cast is really, really great. I mean, I don't really know if this is necessarily a sign of the time. I hope it is, but I mean the entire cast is it seems to be I would say 99% African American, which is really amazing. I'm sure it fits the makeup of Harlem, and it just works really, really well. Everybody in the show is just amazing, and it just washes over you with this this really awesome neighborhood that you get dropped into, and you just really want to see more of it, and you just want to see Luke Cage kick more butt, because it's just so awesome seeing this guy who basically at the surface seems to be invincible, and you think a guy who's invincible would just have no limits, but they kind of find a way to rein him in. He cares about people, and I think you're definitely gonna look forward to the first 3 episodes. So I have nothing bad to say yet. So I'm looking forward.
That's something I've not seen a single bad article about this yet. I mean, a lot of people pick some details out of Jessica Jones or Daredevil on the first couple days. Not a single bad thing about Luke Cage. So that's really got me hyped to see what it has to offer and what's going on in Marvel's Netflix.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the soundtrack. We talked about that a lot before the show came out. I loved how every episode is named after a Gangstar song, and also the score or hip hop bass line that they put throughout this whole thing is amazing. And I'm really enjoying the meme going around that says Marvel's new superhero is a black guy in the hoodie and he's bulletproof. I thought that was really funny. I'm like that's getting shared. So yeah, everybody's gonna enjoy Luke Cage. Mike Coulter's the man, and I'm definitely gonna tear through this, and we're going to be talking about all of the spoilers. We're going to spoiler cast this next week for you guys.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. However, there's another fun fact about Luke Cage that came out this week that some people may not be happy with. They're probably happy with it, but it took Iron Fist's place in the release schedule for Marvel.
Oh wow!
So it was originally going to be Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, but due to the overwhelmingly positive reception of Luke Cage in Jessica Jones, they flip-flopped Iron Fist and Luke Cage's place on the release schedule.
So I'll throw out a little theory here, because we've talked about this a little bit. We're kind of curious who is going to be the head person of the Defenders, like who's going to be the leader. Because normally it's Luke Cage. He's usually the guy at the head of the group. But it seems like they're setting it up to be Daredevil, honestly, just because he's had 2 seasons already. He seems to be really at the head of fighting for justice. So I think it might make more sense in this world. But hey, if Luke Cage was originally going to be the last show before the Defenders took place, maybe they were doing that specifically to be like, okay, here's your leader getting introduced. So I don't know. I might get a better idea maybe the more we watch Luke Cage to see if they're going to set him up to lead a team or not. But I'd like to see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm still leaning towards Daredevil simply because of the way they cranked out that second season. They're like, we need Daredevil. A lot of the baselines of the story are being set up in the Daredevil series as well. So I'm still leaning Daredevil, but it's going to be interesting. I want to see Luke Cage so bad. I can't see him.
There's a few references to Hell's Kitchen in the first couple episodes that there's a hilarious little drop reference to Hell's Kitchen, and I think you'll enjoy that.
Okay, yes. Looking forward to it. We'll have more for you guys next week, so come back. But we're going to keep on with the news, because the news doesn't stop, even when Luke Cage is out. Daredevil Season 3, a lot of people are saying this is going to come out in 2018 as a Netflix release, and I'm going to be honest, that's no news to us. A lot of people, for some reason, that caught a big wind of news at the end of this week. They're like, oh, well, if they got to do Iron Fist and the Defenders, they might not get around to Daredevil by April. I'm like, who said Daredevil was going to be in April? I don't know. They got to get to the Defenders before Daredevil comes back. So I think 2018 Netflix release is pretty obvious. And if you've heard that, there's a reason why. They got to get through Defenders.
Yeah, and if you listened to last week, we pretty much theorized that we were going to be getting Iron Fist in the spring, possibly Defenders in the summer, and then maybe Punisher in the fall. It's for Punisher to kind of start phase 2 Netflix. So then obviously you'd get Daredevil in 2018. So I'm really looking forward to see what else they can do with Matt Murdock, because they are just casting these heroes on Netflix just like A+. So I can't wait to see them all together.
Yeah, so my last question for that is, how many seasons do you think is enough for a character?
I mean, that's tough, because when you're creating a TV show for like a network, especially a bigger network like NBC or CBS, they want to crank out as many seasons as possible. They're not necessarily worried about quality as much as the more hours, the more seasons we get, the more advertising space we can sell, because we got to fill these slots. Netflix, they don't necessarily have any sort of agenda there. So I don't know.
Well, see, I mean, I don't care about it. Just how many do you think is enough for you? Like, okay, this is either a good point where we can stop here, or maybe one or two more. But like, how many seasons to you is a good TV show? Like,
I think if I could tell Netflix anything, is don't set yourself into a template or like a schedule for every single hero. I think whenever a character organically is kind of running out of story, or you feel like you're reaching a good point, just end it for them. I think it's working out well in the movies where everybody gets a trilogy and then they just kind of team up. So I think that could work well for Netflix. So at the very most, I can kind of imagine maybe up to 5 seasons for maybe a character that has more going on. I can't imagine 5 seasons of Punisher, but I could imagine 5 seasons of Daredevil, just because there's a lot of good Daredevil content out there. I don't think they should stretch it quite that far. I would say 4. I'm going to land on 4. 4 is a nice even round number. 4 seasons.
See, I was going with 3 because like a trilogy kind of like of seasons, and maybe if they want to do another trilogy, they could start over, like do another, not a reboot, but like do another trilogy kind of thing. So that's what I was thinking. Just kind of curious, because I mean, Daredevil season 3, that's a while out there. So when does that start? When do we getting more Netflix shows to take those places? Like Moon Knight or Blade or something like that to kind of take over for those.
Yeah, exactly. Actors. I think that's going to be the best thing. And then, if you say, Jessica Jones only gets 3 seasons, hey, if we do get like a Blade a series, have Jessica Jones pop up in a couple episodes. I think that would be a nice way to go back to characters that have kind of wrapped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I asked this because it brings us to our next point with Agent Carter.
Agent Carter news. I want to hear this, man.
So Hayley Atwell doesn't feel like the character is done, and she really wants to do a final TV movie for Agent Carter as second in cap. And I agree. I think we kind of got left on a cliffhanger in an unfair way in season 2.
It's funny you bring this up, because I was kind of, getting over the loss, throughout the summer. We don't have any more Agent Carter. We literally saw her die in Civil War. I felt like that was Marvel's way of saying, okay, we're kind of wrapping up the Hayley Atwell story here. She's not going to be in anything else anymore. But then they were doing Instagram advertisements for her new show over on ABC or something.
Conviction.
And so I'm scrolling through my newsfeed and I see her popping up, basically in kind of similar dress, like businesswoman dress. I'm just like, oh, Agent Carter's in my newsfeed. Oh no, it's for her other show. I'm like, oh man. So there's obviously a Hayley Atwell hole that has formed in my life. So I would love a TV movie to pop up. Maybe Netflix. I don't really know. I don't really know if it fits in ABC's kind of span of programming. Maybe we can get it on Netflix.
Well, I wouldn't say Netflix. I'd say keep it on where the show premiered, and just finish it there. And like, here you get a 90 movie minutes, like or 90 TV minutes of a finale, like Agent Carter's last mission before Shield and the SSR start.
It'd be a good place to put it. Maybe like a week or 2 before the season finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So as people are ramping up and getting ready for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to culminate with their season, there's usually always like a down week there anyway. Bam, pop in 90 minutes of Agent Carter. That'd be great.
Yeah, maybe. I'm going to actually lean towards winter holiday, how they do Christmas specials.
I see. You want to get a little BBC up in here.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, I know they do it with Doctor Who and Sherlock, and like ABC totally could lean into it, and I think they should embrace it. Mm-hmm. But ABC is embracing the Marvel Cinematic Universe with S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4. Mm-hmm. And are you caught up? Have you watched both episodes, Mike?
Yes, seen both episodes.
So I've been getting a lot of questions about the second episode with an item called the Darkhold, which was mentioned.
Is this we talking about ghosts here?
A little bit, little apparitions of sorts. A little bit of spoilers for S.H.I.E.L.D. here, but like there's a lot of mystery left. So no matter what we tell you, it's definitely going to be something different.
Yeah.
But the Darkhold is a book, and it's called the Book of Sins in the Marvel Universe. And this book has lots of ties to vampires, werewolves, zombies, lots of other things in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, including Ghost Rider and Doctor Strange in the comic books. So this Darkhold, I think, is going to be like maybe a MacGuffin for the first half of the season, and really tie us into that Doctor Strange universe coming up here in less than a month.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. They definitely seem to be using most of their production budget on the look of Ghost Rider. We got to see him again in episode 2, which was really, really great because I was really curious how often we were going to get to see that flaming skull. But then we got something that seems relatively easy to do on a TV budget, which is ghosts. And they're looking they're looking a little wonky to me. I don't know how you feel about the ghosts that are popping up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I'm gonna be honest. They're okay with me because they're not necessarily ghosts as we think of them. Like there's something wrong with them, technology based or mystical based, like a mixture of both. And maybe they're not ghosts, maybe there's something else. But I don't know. The story in this is very awesome. A lot of intense moments in this season so far, and only 2 episodes in. And I'm sad that there's a week off this week, but I really
there is?
Yeah.
Damn.
It's 2 weeks.
It's probably because I think Flash is coming back. I think the CW shows are cranking out this week.
We're gonna talk about CW later. So yeah, they're starting up this week. So it's good to miss that so we can catch up on the other things. But Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just hitting us with a 1-2 on the Ghost Rider. They're not slowing down. So really excited to see how that plays off this season. Stan Lee, big guy, big name, right?
Stan the Man. Stan the Man. He,
according to Kevin Feige, earlier this year filmed 4 Marvel movie cameos in one day.
Man, that's a busy day for Mr. Stan Lee.
Yes, he can't get around too well, so I mean, I'm glad they did them all at once. I assume they are for the 4 following films: Doctor Strange, Thor Ragnarok, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah, I feel like you could kind of, depending on which kind of blog you run out there, you could kind of spin this one of 2 ways. Either they are trying to get all of these out as quick as possible because, we all know Stan Lee is getting up there.
He's not young.
Even though he is the man. He is up there. But also you could spin it the other way and be like, hey, Stan Lee, he's a hard-working dude. He filmed 4 movie cameos in one day. He's got a busy schedule. He's got a lot of places to be. This is the only day he could fit all these movies in. So, there's different ways you could look at this, but all I can say is the Stan Lee cameo is just a special thing that we all look forward to in a movie, so I hope we always get them. Maybe Stan Lee is going to be one of those guys that is just like, I love being in these movies. I'm going to let them just totally digitize me and put me in future movies even after I'm gone.
I'm pretty sure I said that last week. Like, there is no way that you do not have a full HD 4K 3D scan of Stan Lee somewhere in those Marvel offices to pull him out of anywhere at any moment.
It would just be really great if he was just totally on board with it. He's just like, hey, if you're gonna CG me, why don't you go throw in some cameos when I was like in my 30s, when I was at the top of my game, making comic books. That would be really fun too. Because he just feels like a fun-loving guy, and he would just be like, yeah, man, I want to keep being in these movies forever. So I would be on board. I don't think it would be tacky if he was on board with it. So we'll just have to see what Stan Lee wants.
Yeah, and the reason I chose these 4 movies, back to the 4 films, is they're all in production or post-production this summer. The next one after these would be Avengers, and they've not even started regular production on that. So
yeah,
definitely going to go with that. So Stan Lee, keep doing your thing. I'll see you at C2E2 in the spring, buddy.
Yeah, man.
We know you're listening. So we talked about Doctor Strange a little bit. We're going to come back to Doctor Strange. There's a big news dump of Doctor Strange stuff this week.
Chris, dump all over me.
I got nothing for that. So a lot of people have been talking about the Winter Soldier reference for Doctor Strange. They said Stephen Strange whenever, Agent Sitwell was on top of the roof giving off things. The reason this reference was made is because Doctor Strange is a well-known like scientist and surgeon in the world, and like has enough influence and power to pull things his way if he wanted to, if he wasn't with Hydra. So that's why they brought him up, not because he was the Sorcerer Supreme in the Winter Soldier.
Oh wow!
So it's more of a like, and plus the algorithm is enough to predict past, present, and future threats. So they would know that he would be a problem later on due to that algorithm. Not necessarily he would be the Sorcerer Supreme. So despite people saying, "Oh, the movie may take place during like, flashbacks with the Sorcerer of like, during Winter Soldier and all these other movies," and he's just been there the whole time, not really. So that's a fact. We got dropped on us. The villain is Kaecilius, and his followers are the Zealots. And he's technically a good magician, or I guess wizard turned bad. So that's
part of the course. For
pretty par. The cloak of levitation we saw actually floating around by itself and following Doctor Strange. It's kind of like a sentient cloak. Is how it's kind of being treated, rather than just a piece of clothing he clips on and uses. So the way the magic works in that, I don't know, but I'm really excited to see how that works.
I think actually, I had a chance to watch part of what was that movie called? The documentary of like that Superman Returns, where it was
the death of Superman Returns.
Yeah. So the content in the documentary is very, very interesting, but I really was rooting for this documentary. The documentary is honestly kind of boring, which is really, really bad. I couldn't make all the way through the movie. I watched about 80% of it. I mean, if you're a really big nerd, you can get through most of it, but I don't think you could just show this to anybody and they would be engaged enough. But one of the ideas for that movie was Superman was going to have like a sentient cloak that was going to be like his buddy. He was going to throw it around like a boomerang and like a weapon and stuff. So I think that idea makes more sense with Doctor Strange.
Yeah, his weakness is magic, so he can't really have a magic cloak. So that's was a little weird there. But that was something. So we've also seen magic in the Marvel Universe already with the Scarlet Witch casting her magic spells. But her magic looks different than Doctor Strange's magic. Do you know why?
Well, I would think it's because Scarlet Witch's magic was kind of rooted in science, and also, so I think it's kind of connected to the gem in a way that they've shown it in the movies. Well,
that's a good reason. Also, hers is unpracticed magic. It's like very raw magic. She doesn't know how to use her spells. She wasn't trained. So
hence
that's
why somebody blew up and destroyed a building.
that too, and that's why like whenever she's doing magic with her hands, she's doing kind of like the same motions, but they look like blobs and very amorphous like shapes of like red energy, whereas Doctor Strange's are very like practiced and meticulous and patterned, and they look pretty because he's a practiced sorcerer. So
that makes sense.
They kind of explain that. So they're both magic. There's different kinds. And I also want to mention that this has kind of let down Mike a little bit this week. There's a 15-minute preview coming up at IMAX theaters on October 10th. It's only 15 minutes. It's not the whole movie. They did this with Guardians of the Galaxy over 2 years ago, and I went and saw it, and they gave me it's this cool IMAX exclusive poster that was with it, and some other free stuff. And you can go check that out. I think it's on like seeitfirst.com or something like that. I don't know off the top of my head, but maybe I'll put the link in there. But if you guys want to see 15 minutes of Doctor Strange on October 10th before anybody else and get that word of mouth, that hype train going, this is the way to do it. I'm really excited. Mike's disappointed it's not the full movie, but
well, the problem is if you don't look close enough at the page, there's no big bold print that says only 15 minutes of the movie. It literally just says Doctor Strange IMAX advanced screening, and then so I jumped at the chance because I think the last time this came up was for a legitimate preview for a movie. So I was just like, oh man, I can see this Marvel movie a couple weeks early, and obviously all the tickets were gone very, very quickly. So I jumped on it. I reserved it, and I was surprised I got an email right away saying I had 2 tickets reserved. And then I finally get around to looking, a 15-minute preview. I was like, oh, son of a bitch. I can't reorganize my whole schedule on a Monday night just for 15 minutes. It would be more like spoiler for me, because I knew when that 15-minute came around again in the movie, I'd be like, oh, I know everything that's going to happen. That's no fun.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you, because when I did the Guardians, they showed the prison break scene.
Well, that's a cool scene. I don't want that spoiled ahead of time.
But it was different. Like, they showed stuff in there that wasn't like necessarily in the final film, or like different angles. It was definitely not the same thing in the theater, because I'm like, I don't remember this extra stuff. This is cool. So I don't know if they just cut down like certain sections. I don't know. I had a good time with the Guardians one. if you're not so averse to spoilers as Mike is, definitely check it out for a free thing if it's your IMAX if they have it. So I'm going. I'll let you guys know in a couple weeks how awesome it truly is.
Yes, please do. Let us know.
So yeah, there's more Doctor Strange stuff, and if it pops up, like a lot of it was like little bitty stuff that doesn't matter. So we're gonna wait till the movie comes out to talk about it. So if you guys have Doctor Strange questions, tweet at us, email us, whatever you want to do. Spider-Man: Homecoming is finishing up filming this week, and we've got a new poster as they return to New York with the Stark Expo is coming back in Spider-Man: Homecoming.
I mean, like now that Elon Musk is doing like Apple presentations, we're gonna be getting another type of presentation in the Marvel universe that we all know and love.
Well, I mean, they've already done this once, so it was in Iron Man 2.
Last time it didn't go so well, so.
Well, either way, it's there. They're bringing it back. Hashtag it's all connected, Mike. That's really what we got to know here. And then the Spider-Man: Homecoming is wrapping filming in New York, so hopefully maybe we get a trailer with Star Wars this winter. What do you think about that?
It's hard to imagine that I could possibly see a Star Wars movie with a Spider-Man trailer ahead of it. That's dream come true.
A Star Wars movie we're excited for, and a
Spider-Man movie we're excited for
at the same time. Like last time this happened, it didn't end very well for us. So, so yeah, that's cool. I'm really excited to see that stuff. We've also reported Marvel and Hulu are working on a production called The Runaways, based on a Brian K. Vaughan book, the award-winning series. They've hired Tamara Becher, who's written Iron Fist as a writer. And my link here is not working. However, she did screenshot the page or like some of her homework she was doing with Iron Fist. So I think it was taken down probably if I was a bet man, that she was asked to take this down, but Tamara Becher not Belcher, that's horrible. Becher has been hired to essentially write The Runaways or work on it a little bit.
I think that's great.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, again, I haven't seen the Netflix episode I haven't enjoyed, so really excited to see more of that stuff. So if she's doing Iron Fist, she's got to be good. That's what I'm trying to say here. Did you check out the Tick pilot that came out on Amazon over the summer?
You are the seasoned Tick guy here at Superhero Slate. Me, not so much. It's cool to see that it got picked up. I mean, parody superhero stuff is big, especially after Deadpool knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, I love the original live-action Tick TV series. The old game for Sega Genesis is awesome, based on the cartoon. However, the pilot on Amazon was awesome. Left me wanting more. I really wanted more. And Amazon has ordered the pilot to series. Actually, all three of them were ordered to series, including the Jean-Claude Van Damme series and the other, I think it was Kevin Bacon series. So, but I'm really excited to see a full series of The Tick on Amazon. I'm glad Amazon's kind of stepping into maybe the superhero realm a little bit more, because I don't think they had any other TV shows on there that I know of.
Oh, superhero shows? Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think their user interface is kind of atrocious, so I'm not really watching much over on Amazon.
You're not wrong. You are not wrong, Mike. Oh well. But over on Fox, they don't have stuff on. They might have stuff on Amazon. I don't know. Fox Studios has scheduled an untitled Marvel film for IMAX. So they were announcing some IMAX team ups. Fox was, and they said untitled Marvel film rather than anything coming up like Wolverine 3. So we don't know what it is. Most people are speculating maybe Deadpool.
Or you know what? I bet it's not Gambit.
God, I hope not. That would be awful. Or maybe the next X-Men franchise film.
Oh, maybe. There's so many questions up in the air with Fox's future. Obviously, we know we're getting more Deadpool, because when a movie with that low of a budget makes that much money at a rated R rating, we know Ryan Reynolds isn't going anywhere. But their other franchise, plus Fantastic Four, they are not really on much solid ground, so Deadpool is saving their series over there. Man,
I'm really crossing my fingers that D23 next year, or maybe this year, I don't know, whenever it is, they announced that that Fantastic Four has joined Marvel. and we don't have to worry about that anymore. I'm losing sleep over Fantastic Four. Who owns those rights? I'm going to go with Deadpool because that's probably farther in production than the next X-Men franchise film because we haven't heard anything about it. Like, even, like, the end credits were for the Wolverine and not the next X-Men movie, which is kind of, like, concerning to me. So, I don't know. How are you feeling about that? Like, not knowing where the X-Men's going after Wolverine 3?
I mean, Fox always surprises me with the decisions that they make. They're usually poor. So I'm just going to worry about Deadpool. I'm just going to clear my mind and just make sure Deadpool is as good as it can be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Well, one thing we don't have to worry about, Mike, other than Fox, is the CW. They seem to be making some pretty good moves with everything they're doing. I'm really looking forward to this week. We get The Flash and Arrow, and I think Legends of Tomorrow maybe starts this week as well. And they gave us this great teaser called Superhero Fight Club 2.0 that we've watched. I did not know there was a Superhero Fight Club 1.0. To be honest.
I think it's because it doesn't look like it's pulled out of any show at all. It's just like a promo thing made outside of the canon of what you see season to season. So we would have never seen 1.0 if we were just watching normally without promo material, it seems like.
Okay, good, because I felt like I was missing something and felt really, really concerned. I'm like, oh no, what did I do? I just double-checked. Legends of Tomorrow was not this week, so I think it's just Flash and Arrow. And we get Flashpoint, which is awesome. So this Fight Club 2.0 shows the addition of Supergirl to the team, and all 4 shows kind of working in synergy, fighting this robot thing, and like some X-Men Danger Room thing. Yeah. And then all the sidekicks like Diggle and Felicity and Cisco and Martian Manhunter coming in on the sides to watch. The Martian Manhunter CG looks like it's maybe because it's just a promo and not something in the show. It looks kind of cagey. Like, it doesn't look as good as what it did before. Or is it the CW budget?
It's always just this weird balance of TV and superheroes, which is why I bring it up almost every time. Is like you're just at this unique cross section where TV is so profitable and so much more long lasting than movies are, and you get fantastical things like superheroes that almost always require some sort of computer special effects to really nail it. Because, before they've just been drawn on pages. You can draw anything. So when you reach that cross-section of budget and superhero, it's always going to shine through somewhere that everything's not super homogenous. So you just always got to have that preconceived notion when you're watching a superhero TV show that you're going to see some things sometime that look kind of meh, but you just got to move along and hopefully the characters are...
The only reason I bring it up is because on CBS, like when I saw previews or images of Supergirl with Martian Manhunter, they didn't look horrible. Like they look good.
Well, that CBS budget would definitely dwarf a CW
so
budget.
Do you think the CW budget is going to work against the Martian Manhunter and Supergirl? Because they always make the Flash look good, so I'm just curious.
Yeah, it might, but I think the overall, like we see in this, the overall grouping of these characters is coming together. It's actually pretty amazing when you think about how far the CW has come. I mean, the CW had what beforehand? I mean, they've had some supernatural stuff with Buffy in the past when it was like the WB. They had Smallville for a long time, and then all of a sudden, like someone just steps up and they're just like, why don't we just do our own like superhero mashup? We could have a superhero on every night of the week, and then this is what it looks like. It's pretty amazing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I agree. This promo is really fun. It's really exciting. Makes me excited for the 4 TV show crossover week. Whenever they do, I assume they'll do like part 1 Monday, 2 Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday kind of deal. Like I really look forward to that. And also, it also makes me a little hyped for the CW's standalone app that just launched, where you can watch all these shows without any cable subscription, just commercials.
That's right.
So I'm really CW. I'm really excited to check that out. I'll probably watch The Flash live if I'm going to be honest with you. But awesome. Really excited to see how the other shows come out. Speaking of other shows on the CW, Arrow is almost approaching episode 100. Can you believe that?
Man,
I didn't think there'd be that many, honestly. So when I get here and look at this, the episode 100, the tease is Stephen Amell with someone in a Deathstroke armor.
Yeah, and sitting on a bench.
Sitting on a bench, but that's not the movie Deathstroke either.
No. This is CW budget Deathstroke.
That's very much a CW, like a hockey, suit painted red and orange, and it kind of looks like they might be like in a cemetery too or something. I don't know where they are, but it looks like Deathstroke is coming back to the Arrow universe, which is a little weird, like how the rules have changed because they used to kill off characters on Arrow to use them in the movie universe.
I mean, it's not surprising that it is and it isn't. Like, the problem with the last season of Arrow wasn't necessarily the villain itself. It was just the way everything was put together. So maybe they're just like, hey, the last time this show was really amazing is when, Deathstroke was firing on all cylinders. Deathstroke is in the news because he's going to be in a Batman movie. He's a big deal right now. Maybe let's bring him back to the show. So maybe it's going to be someone else under that helmet. I don't remember the final ending of what happened to the actor under the mask. I don't know if
Manu Bennett. I don't know if he died.
Yeah, I think he was in that jail cell, like under the island. I don't know if he got out. I don't remember. It's hard to remember all the machinations of 100 episodes. But I mean, Deathstroke was cool. So if he's coming back, hopefully they find a cool way to bring him back.
I definitely agree. I mean, it's fine. I enjoy Deathstroke and Slade Wilson in this, and he's a big name right now. So hopefully he doesn't need to come back for a lot of episodes. Maybe just some really cool stuff on episode 100. Mm-hmm. But in the good news, Diggle got a new helmet finally after we made fun of him so hard in season 4. However, this does not help him as much. It's a better step, but it is more of a Judge Dredd helmet.
It works better because it just seems more practical. It looks more like maybe a superhero motorcycle helmet. It looks like something like Robin would put on before he gets on the Robin cycle or something. But I think it's working a lot better. We'll have to see. I like when you're watching these shows, when you're watching a superhero that fires arrows, you always think like, oh, why don't you just give the Green Arrow a gun? He's going to be a lot more effective. And then you literally have a sidekick who does just shoot guns, and you think, Diggle, you should have a higher body count. I don't understand what's going on. So we'll see if Diggle becomes a little bit more effective.
Yeah, definitely, and maybe this visor does something. Maybe he's got some heads-up display for him, rather than just cover his eyes like Judge Dredd. So I don't know. We'll definitely check it out. And Legend of Tomorrow, like I said, doesn't come out next week. It's two Thursdays away. So we're gonna check that. The first look at the Justice Society of America coming up in the show is here, and this is a 1940s era superhero group, including I think it's Stargirl. The Hour Man is the guy in the front with the hourglass belt buckle. Obsidian is in the back with the black and blue. Vixen there, who's dressed in her Vixen outfit, and then Captain Steel on the far right. I do not know who the man with the goggles is off the top of my head.
I'm honestly impressed that you got as far as you did, because I mean, you're not really old canon DC reader for sure, and I'm surprised you got as far as you did. So congratulations.
Well, thank you. The reason I know. The Vixen, we've talked about the Vixen casting a lot, and she looks just like a descendant or a relative of the girl who plays Vixen in the Arrow show. And Obsidian is actually the son of the old school Green Lantern, not Hal Jordan, but the original Green Lantern. So definitely interesting to see kind of how that plays off. Dr. Midnight is what that character's name is.
There you go.
Dr. Midnight. So they definitely look like old school, like 1940s superheroes, like whatever powers they may have. Like they look like they're dressed like a almost steampunk, but not that advanced kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Are you gonna watch Legends of Tomorrow when it lands, or do a wiki recap of the old season?
It's not high up on my list, so we'll have to see.
Okay. So I'm on the fence as well. With it, so if you guys are watching Legends of Tomorrow season 2, let us know. We're definitely listening to it. Another big thing this week is Justice League. Zack Snyder shared an image on the set of Justice League wearing a Batman gauntlet on Twitter while he's drawing on his iPad with his Apple Pencil. And
drawing storyboards.
He's obviously not doing this. This is so staged. It hurts me.
With showing off his Apple Watch.
Showing off his Apple Watch and his Apple stuff, and it looks like a Chinese takeout box. And I don't know what to think of this man at this point. Like, Zack Snyder just infuriates me.
I mean, looking at the boards, it looks like Deathstroke is in them.
Yes.
Kind of.
So
it's hard to say because it's just like you see a character that obviously is wearing some sort of mask, and you see the swords coming out. So you're like, oh, that's Deathstroke. But then at the same time, the mask kind of has that classic Deadshot eye, on it with the kind of the eye patch, the cybernetic eye patch. So I was just like, well, Deadshot doesn't have a sword, so I don't really know what's going on here. Maybe it's not a sword, but it looks like it is.
Deathstroke wears an eye patch, and he has swords.
Oh, well, he's kind of got like a more of a mask, but whatever.
Well, when he takes it off, I mean, he's lost the eye. That's why half the mask doesn't have an eye hole, the black side.
No, well, whatever.
Yeah, it's okay. It's Deathstroke, and these are storyboards kind of leaning towards that the Deathstroke test footage we saw will be in Justice League somehow. Mm-hmm. I think that's the big takeaway here. Is a lot of people, I mean, even you were kind of on the fence, like, is it not? Is this Batman test footage? Will it ever see the light of day? But these storyboards kind of line up with some of those shots, maybe, and definitely show Deathstroke will be in Justice League.
He's just going to be in both. Yeah, I'm sure he's a character that's going to permeate a couple films.
And a question that someone did pose me: Zack Snyder is not directing the Batman movie, so no matter how much Deathstroke he's pushing, I'm pretty sure the Warner Brothers is going to let him go after Justice League. Yeah. If I was a Batman,
I'm sure Snyder's going to be an EP on every Warner Brothers movie, but that doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, definitely not. And why is he wearing the one Batman gauntlet? Like, I don't even know. Like. This man, he's just so infuriating. Sorry, I digress. Check out the images we got in there. You can check it out. Also, Justice League is wrapping principal photography this week as well, same as Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. So I guess that means less set photos from Justice League coming out, more quote-unquote official screenshots coming up as they work on it.
Bring it!
I think it's funny. This wraps 13 months before it's out, and Spider-Man wraps the same week, and it's out in July, or June even. So I think it's funny how the turnaround times between the two studios are. It's a little funny to me. But right after the Justice League, I think the next movie after the Justice League is in fact The Flash, the movie.
Ooh, all right.
The director Rick Fumiyawa shares an image of the script, saying current revisions by Rick Fumiyawa with the Flash pop vinyl on it. Of course, I know that was a Flash pop vinyl.
Yeah, you can tell just by its little feety.
Mm-hmm. But also, it's curious, in the back shows a little bit of the Cyborg pop vinyl.
Oh man, so that's what's news to you, is the little glimpse of new pops.
Well, I don't think these aren't even new pops. Actually, what this is we've rumored that Cyborg will show up in the Flash, and people were kind of like, no. But like, why would you put the freaking Cyborg pop vinyl on this and do this? Like, don't be one of those people. Don't just tease us. Give us, like, tell us what's gonna happen. So
I like that. I like how that's where your brain goes. I love the speculation. You can see literally probably 20 pixels of a Cyborg foot, and you're just like, Cyborg's going to be in the Flash movie. I love that.
I like to think nothing's by accident. Like, I don't want someone who's like, oh, happy accidents make movies, right? Like, making a Flash movie, because that would be silly. But yeah, so I don't know. So I mean, I'd be okay with the Flash Cyborg team up.
I'd be okay with a good movie, Chris.
Yeah, okay.
At this
you're
point,
right.
I just want a good movie.
You just want a good movie. We'll give you a good movie eventually. We'll get you there. Something else comes out in a month and a half is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Yeah.
And the final trailer for the film dropped this week. I don't know if you saw it yet.
I'm hyped on Harry Potter no matter what. We just did a big marathon over here in our household of all the Harry Potter movies the other weekend. And it's really great jumping back into that world every once in a while. So it's going to be nice jumping into it again with fresh content. I hope it's really, really amazing, because I am always a fan of more Harry Potter movies.
Yeah, I mean, as you should be. Everyone should be. And especially if it's not directly a continuation of the Harry Potter, but like building the world. I think there's a lot of world there left to build. A lot of history and stuff. But this final trailer gives us the opposite of what my complaint was on the first movie was. The first trailer had no beasts in it. They were like, oh, a little bit. This thing has all the beasts. I'm like, how does he have this much Fantastic Beasts in his little suitcase? Like,
you know what? It's magic, man. It's magic.
Yeah, I know it is, and that's cool. But like, how's he gonna spend a 2-hour movie hunting down all these different creatures? I feel like that might be a little snippy for a film, but I want to see it. I'm gonna see it. I'm happy with it.
I think it's gonna be magical.
Oh my gosh, you're just like you're like fanboying over there. Like you got your fanboy blinders on. Like this is what it's gonna be. Fun fact: the director of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is David Yates, who directed the last 4 Harry Potter films. By the way,
you know what? That was a fun fact. I'm glad you reminded me.
Yeah. So David Yates is well ingrained in the Harry Potter universe. However, his last movie, the only movie he did in theater film after Deathly Hallows Part 2 and Fantastic Beasts is the Legend of Tarzan movie that came out this summer.
Hey, that movie made money, so
yeah. Well, I hope so.
Made a lot of it actually.
But I haven't seen it yet, so I hopefully, maybe I get around to it eventually, and it's a good movie. And he's still got that magic. He's not burnt out yet, Like if you get someone on the 5th movie in a franchise, Michael Bay, we're looking at you. You don't know what you're gonna get. So hopefully it's something good. So cross fingers there. Speaking of magical beast, Mike, this is where the first image of the Beast from Beauty and the Beast comes up.
Yeah, this is pretty crazy because this was the #1 thing I've been waiting to see about this movie. Every time you bring it up, I want to know what the Beast looks like.
Yes. So this image that we have here, I actually saved a copy of it, thankfully, because it's been requested for takedowns by Disney, which usually lends to credibility, I think so. And you get to see Emma Watson, actually from Harry Potter yet again, in the yellow bell princess dress, and the Beast, who is playing the guy who's playing Legion in the upcoming FX series. I think his name is Dan Stevens as the Beast in his beast mode. There we go.
Beast mode.
In his blue suit. So judging by this image, Mike, do you think the Beast imagery is on point with the classic cartoon?
I mean, I think it looks good. It's hard to get a tone kind of out of this because it's art. It's like a digital painting or something along those lines. It's not fully rendered, and it's a relatively low res image. So it really makes me wonder in full CG is it going to look a little different. But the horns look pretty rad. He's kind of got facial features that look close to a human, so it's not going to be too jarring. But yeah, I think it works. It's a very bright and cheery photo. Everything's very light. They're in front of like this very beautiful like type of window with the light coming in, and they're dancing. So nothing really looks too scary here. So I'm looking forward to seeing the Beast and growling really loud, maybe like in a
beast
dark
mode
hallway or something. Yeah, I want to see him in beast mode.
Yeah. So I think that's broken glass behind them. Actually, I don't think that's a very very pretty room.
Symbolism.
Yeah. So that's cool. I sent you a picture to your phone or your iMessages, Mike, just now because I wanted to say this reaction for the show. And that Dan Stevens as the CGI Beast looks a lot like Kelsey Grammer's Beast from X-Men 3.
Oh no!
Oh
yeah, a little bit, but that was more of like a makeup gig. So this looks like it's going to be more CG. But
it's all in good fun.
And he's not blue, so
yeah. Well, his suit is blue, and that's half the battle. But
that just reminds me, I need more Kelsey Grammer in my life. I gotta rewatch Frasier again.
You gotta go back on your yearly rewatching of Frasier. It's like a mecca for you. You go on your Frasier journey. So my wife, big Beauty and the Beast fan. She made some very excited noises when she saw this image. So I think the fans are on board. So that's what matters. And speaking of Disney's live action movies, this one's kind of got my head scratching. Live action Lion King coming from Jon Favreau of Iron Man / Jungle Book fame. What do you think of this?
I'm just gonna say it. I'm not that surprised. I mean, especially after he literally almost did the exact same thing with the Jungle Book. Actually, this time around, how do you consider it live action?
Exactly. That's my question. There's nothing. It's all CG to look like real creatures. That's not live action.
Yeah, so I guess do you even market it as a live action? Like, is Disney legitimately going to say anywhere in official paperwork live action Lion King, or are they just going to say it's a new Lion King. It would be kind of weird to see Lion King with humans.
Well,
but I mean, if they're retelling the story, maybe that does work. But yeah, if you took Mowgli out of the Jungle Book, it's not live action.
Right, exactly. It's all green screen, all CGI stuff, and he was the only thing that was technically live in that whole thing. So that's where I've been scratching my head. I'm like, can they call this live action, or would they just call it, Disney's The Lion King, kind of like how they did I think Cinderella. They didn't call it live action Cinderella. They said Disney Cinderella kind of deal.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
I'm not surprised it's Jon Favreau. I mean, he knocked it out of the park, apparently, with Jungle Book. I haven't seen it yet, and I've admitted my wrongdoing of that movie being good when it
haunts you. It just haunts you on this show, doesn't it?
Every night it haunts me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think if they want to stick to the spirit of Lion King, they leave humans out of it, and they leave it an isolated animal story in Africa. But who knows if they want to modernize it and bring in humans that are trying to poach things to tell some sort of extra moral story. I don't know. But there's no humans in it.
They didn't change the Jungle Book, so I doubt they'd change that too much. So,
all right.
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. I guess the big question is everyone's like, oh, they're going to live action all the Pixar movies next. I'm like, I don't think so. But a live action Toy Story would be interesting.
No Disney movie is safe. I saw a schedule the other day of proposed or announced rumored Disney movies for the next 20 years, and they're all live action remakes. So if you got a precious Disney movie out there, cross your fingers and hopefully they nail the live action version of it.
Yeah, I think my thing is I think Pixar might have a deal you can't redo our movies.
Yeah, well, I mean, Pixar has kind of always been about CG, and I guess you could say Disney's always been about animation. So I don't know. It doesn't matter as long, whatever makes money is what gets made.
Yeah. Well, if this comes to fruition, we're definitely gonna have to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, we've talked about movies with 5 in them, 5 films in a franchise, and we get our first look today at Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Men Tell No Tales, which is a mouthful of a title.
Chris, do you want to guess what circumstances was the last time I even thought about Pirates of the Caribbean?
Man.
You know what? I'm not going to make you guess. It was somebody saying the most expensive movie ever made.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Budget ever for a movie was for the last Pirates of the Caribbean, number 4.
You listened to that on Movie Fights last week, didn't you?
Yeah, that's the last time I even thought about Pirates of the Caribbean, because honestly, I don't really like the second or the third one. The first one's the only really nice, fun, solid movie. They've only gotten lucky with the other one just because they've made money. This is a movie that doesn't need to be made. Even Disney looks like they're planning for other... They're making a Jungle Cruise movie. They're making other movies based on rides. Just let this die. Obviously, we love Captain Jack Sparrow, but this new trailer just looks like the same old story. So, let's bring in some sort of weird villain pirate that has some sort of fucked up face.
Right, so
he's trying to get Jack Sparrow.
They're undead creatures that are mixed of sea creatures and undead people. And
never seen that before, Chris.
You only see him in the shadows, and they're looking for Jack Sparrow to kill him, and I don't even know. So we got this trailer today during Fear the Walking Dead. It's actually brand new as of recording this. We took a second to watch it, and it's got Javier Bardem as the villain, and I really held him to higher regards than this.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to think. We all love you, Johnny Depp. We all loved Captain Jack Sparrow. They got to find a way to put you in a good movie. And also, looking through this trailer, it all looked exactly the same. Since you don't see the bad guy's face until the end of the trailer, it could have just been, Barbosa. It could have just been Davy Jones, for all we know. Just some CG guy, slumping his way through a ship, slashing a sword. And then you have all of, the colonial marines or whatever they are. They needed to find a way to make this movie look different too. Take it to a different part of the globe. I don't know. I don't know. Everything just looks the same.
It's the Caribbean. They can't go anywhere else. They have to stay in the Caribbean.
They gotta take it out of the Caribbean. I don't care. The title doesn't. I don't care what the title is. Take it somewhere else on the planet to make it more exciting.
No, I agree. This is very much. If you've seen the first movie, this looks a lot like the first movie. This could be a trailer for the first movie, and you'd never guess differently. Yeah. But my fun fact for Pirates of the Caribbean is, it is, out of every movie I've ever been to in the theaters, number 4, the last Pirates movie in 2011, is the only movie I ever fell asleep in the theater.
Oh, that's not good.
I fell asleep right after it started and woke up right before the post-credit scene at the end.
Yeah,
so,
and something tells me you didn't miss much.
I've never returned once, so that's my Pirates of the Caribbean story, just to share with you. So, that's it for our news this week. I got to go watch some Luke Cage, man.
Yeah, you do.
If people want to figure out what you're doing on your free time, whether it be new comics or pie or maybe some other stuff that you do. I don't know what you do, Mike. Where can they find that at?
Well, you can follow me at Mike Royer Design on Twitter and Instagram, and you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com. Chris, if people want to know what you're up to, you're a busy guy. You got a lot of shit going on. I can't even keep track of it most of the time. You got extra podcasts going on. I don't even know what you're doing. Where can people follow you?
Yes, you can find me on Twitter at Valdan, Valdan. With my new phone coming in this week, I'm going to start taking some new portrait mode pictures, okay, with my new iPhone. Nice. Really excited to try that out, so I'm going to probably be posting a lot of useless pictures online. You can find me on Comic UI News. We're on Facebook and Twitter as well. And also, my new podcast, Filmside Chats, with my friend Patrick, is on iTunes and filmsidechats.com, so you can check that out. We recorded our 4th episode this week on trilogies, the history of trilogies, and some of our favorite ones and some of the least favorite trilogies. So nice. We talk about that this week, so... Yeah, on there. And if people, like, maybe they want to, like, listen to more of Superhero Slate, Mike. I know they're listening right now, but they want to listen to more. Where can they do the usual find us and learn more about us there?
Well, as always, please visit superheroslate.com, because that is the best place to find all the avenues that we host the show, and also where you can check out our show notes and check out all of the little teasers and things that we've been talking about in this episode. And if you want to subscribe to the show, if you're not already, we are on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Tumblr. You can subscribe and get us right in your email inbox, and you can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. If you're a fan of the show, please consider leaving us a review wherever you listen to the show. It really helps us get some new listeners and helps us find some new super fans. And if you are a super fan, the best way to show your love for the show is to just share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy, and we will be here every single week to talk to you about all the superhero news that's happened.
Yes, very much so. We'll be here every week. And next week, again, we have our Luke Cage Netflix spoiler cast we will be doing on top of the regular show.
Yes. Well, before we do that, you got to go watch it, man.
I got to watch it. Oh, my gosh. I know, Mike. I know. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to edit this show, put it live so you guys can listen and watch some Netflix. We'll catch you guys next week.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.
All right. I just kind of cross my fingers that when I hit record, it's on the blue snowball. I never check beforehand.